You want to know how to cuss in at least 4 languages. Your life, a lot of frustration will leave your life. You know, the cuss in sign language really helps you get through a meeting. To be professional, I can't call people asshole, but I can certainly sign that symbol at them. Okay, I have no idea why. It's like shitty pro-life tips. Let's take a look at these. I don't know, hopefully these little notes helps you guys out a little bit. The main idea, the thing that will keep you straight, is if there's ever an absolute value in your problem, there pretty much has to be 2 cases somewhere. There will be situations where not both cases will give you answers. So I'll do a problem like that after we get done with all these. So here, what are the 2 cases for the first one? No. What are the 2 cases?
X minus 4 equals 3.
Yeah, either that is 3.
Or x minus 4 equals -3.
Cool. And they just solve like normal. So x is 7, or x is 1. And don't forget, you can check it. 1 minus 4 is -3, absolute value is 3. 7 minus 4 is 3, absolute value is 3. Yay. You just plug it back in and check it. What about, I can put B, Jeff. That would be great. It's the same way. So 6 minus 5x equals 4, or 6 minus 5x equals -4. Just a little bit worse equations, right? Subtract 10, divide by 5. I'm subtracting. Subtract 6, divide by 5, you get 2/5. I like it. Subtract 6, you get -10, divide by -5, you get 2. How are we doing so far?
It's not -2/5.
Subtract 6, you get -2. Divided by -5, the negatives cancel. Is that all right? So for some reason, I get people do this all the time. I don't know if this is happening to anybody, but I see this -6, -6, and then they write this. I don't see any 5x up there. I see a -5x, right? So I'm not sure if that. Sometimes that minus sign just sort of like floats away, but you can't do that. And then the negatives will cancel once you divide. How are we doing so far? Is that
Good.
decent? And then C, this one, everybody loved this one. What really kind of freaks me out, let me ask you guys this. The minute I write something like that, everybody thinks this is 1. Right? So if that was you, I'm not picking on you because a lot of people did the same thing. Nowhere up here does it say 3 minus 2. This one says 3 minus twice this. Oh shit, there's no 3 minus 2 anywhere. If I wrote this, which I did for a lot of you guys, because this helps you figure out what the hell to do. Do you see how those are the same idea? 3 minus twice something is 7. 3 minus twice something is 7. A and B had the absolute value by itself. That's why they were so relatively easy. This, the absolute value, is not by itself. I want to get it by itself, which is relative to solving this for x. What would you do first to solve this for x?
Divide by 2. Wait, no, subtract the 3.
Subtract 3.
That's not it.
Almost always divide last.
Yeah.
You don't make fractions early, right? So here I'm going to subtract 3. I do the same exact thing I would. It's -7 though, right?
Yes.
So I get negative twice this is -10.
And then you divide by
You still can't say it's bogus because the absolute value still isn't by itself yet. Divide by -2. Now it looks just like the other problems, right? It's not bogus. So then you write your 2 cases, go to town. So either that is 5 or that is -5. I really hope everybody sees. If that is 5, then this says absolute value 5, and that's 5. If that is -5, then this says absolute value -5, which is still 5. Both of those make this work. Which is why writing those 2 cases leads me to the solutions. So subtract 1 divided by 3. Subtract 1 divided by 3.
-2.
All right, I like it. Sometimes you guys ask so many questions, and then sometimes I know you have questions, and you don't say shit.
My questions are on 2A.
All right.
Where'd you? Oh, never mind. It says that's okay. Never mind. That says absolute value, not 13 and 11. Okay, never mind.
Oh, yeah. So I gotta be careful when I write them on the board and make it not look like a big old one. Everybody else okay? So you can't from the beginning say this is bogus just because that's -7, because you don't know if it's claiming that an absolute value is negative. I don't know yet until I get the absolute value. Oh, now, no, it's claiming that that's 5. If that's 5, now watch. If that whole damn thing is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 minus 10 is -7. So when I do these steps, I'm figuring out what that piece has to be to make this work. Is it something that could be? Yes, that could be positive 5. So I can figure out what x's make that happen. All right.
Jeff,
Yes.
could you have distributed the negative to? Because I did it that way and I got the same answer.
Yes, you can, because, all right. I try to tell you not to do that because there are situations where that will mess you up, it'll make it harder than it needs to be, or it won't even be really allowed if you try to do it the other way. If I let you think that it's okay, and it is okay to bring the -2 in, it really is, but then your brain goes, well, I can bring shit out. But when you bring stuff out, it better be absolute value of that thing, right? So I couldn't take like a negative out of this. So that's why I'm like, I don't want you to go down that road at all, right? What's the difference between these two things? Which one of these is bigger? I love this question. They are both the same, right? Because whatever x is 7 minus 5 versus 5 minus 7, absolute value, these are the same number, right? Because the absolute value takes the negative off. 5 and 7 are 2 apart. So x and 5, however far apart they are, these are the same, these are that distance. They have the same expression. So, if I took a negative out of this, then that doesn't work. That's my point, because then it would be -1 times x minus 5, and then that's not the same. But you could bring a negative in, because if I brought a -1 in, then I really make this different, not totally. Just don't do that. There's situations where it doesn't quite work nicely. Just don't. Okay, maybe. So you look at it as if it were this. And to be honest, the people that are good at math kind of do this naturally. I look at this shit, I don't care about 3x plus 1. It's 3 minus twice something. It's -7. So let me get the something by itself, and now I can start tackling the parts of that thing. But at first, I look at it like this. 3 minus twice something I don't know. Let me get the something I don't know by itself, and then I can start tackling the parts of that thing that I don't know. So in general, when you're solving equations, you isolate the thing that has your variable in it. This is a little bit ahead of us, but some of you guys might know this. If I had square root of x equals 2, what do you think I would do to that to solve it? Square it, because that's the opposite of square rooting. Right? So that this part is e, that's not, and then x is 4, and that makes sense because the square root of 4 is 2. Right? But what if I had square root of x minus 1 equals 2? Look what sucks. If you square it right now, you'd have to FOIL this shit out. I'd much rather add 1 because then I have a radical and then there's nothing to FOIL. So the general idea of get the thing with the variable in it by itself first. So you wouldn't do this shit. You would add 1. Now I can square just like I did that. Wherever your variable is, get it by itself first, because then you can attack that thing directly. All right. So this is in our future.
Foreshadowing.
Coming at us real fast.
No, that's not coming today. Don't freak out. And yeah, it's summer, so yeah. I mean, if you didn't expect that, you're a little insane. All right, so 2A. Is this a stay close to me, or is this a restraining order? Stay close, right? I want distance to be less than something. Absolute value is by itself, so I can identify what situation I'm in. Therefore, I want this to go up to 2 or down to -2. Stay close to me so I can write it like this. If it would stay the hell away from me, I cannot write it like this. I can't write it like a sandwich. Right? Meat, bread, bread. I can't write all that. Now here, what do I do? Add 5. Add 5, add to all sides. Yeah. So 3 less than x, less than 7. And then graphing and interval notation should be not too evil, right? 3, 7. I love the people that have to put every tick mark. If that's 17, they got it. 17 tick marks going on. Just be sure you get it in the right order, that's all I need. And then what symbols? What symbols go in there? Parentheses. And then interval notation would just be
3 and 7?
yeah, from 3 to 7. Don't include either one. Sandwich. Because it was a less than. Stay close to me. Don't let the distance get more than something. Keep it less than something. Okay. So part B has got this. That's great. That's great. So of course the first thing I have to do is add the 8. Right? Get the absolute value part by itself. Did I turn you on? Yeah, good. So I see that it's not some. Do you see the two situations I put up there to help you out? If it was greater than -7, how could an absolute value not be greater than negative number? So that's why the answer would be all real numbers. Absolute value bigger than a. Well, that's always true. The absolute value is positive. It's bigger than a negative. If it was less than a negative, never true. Or even just less than 0, it's never true. So those are those part C and D of that absolute value principle stuff. Now, how do I?
So if it's greater than a negative, it works.
Oh, if it's greater than a negative, all real numbers. Does that make sense? Because any absolute value of anything is going to be bigger than a negative. Because it always comes out positive, or at least 0. So if I had a problem that was like x minus 1 is absolute value is greater than -11. It doesn't matter what the hell x is. What kind of number are you going to get here no matter what? You're going to get a positive number, or 0. And that's always bigger than -11. So the answer would be all real numbers. Maybe. But if I had x minus 1 less than -11, when is that true? When is the absolute value less than a negative number? Freaking never. So that would be no solution. That might be applicable in a minute. So then how do I rewrite this? It's greater than, so that means stay away from me. I want the distance to be greater than something, right? So one case would be
3 minus 2x is greater than 7.
good.
3 minus 2x is less than -7.
Good. You change the sign, you change the sign. And then you just subtract 3, get 4 divided by -2. Let me do this one step at a time. So there you go. And now, but now divided by -2, what's going to happen?
Change the sign.
Yes. Somebody's asking me, but I did some other stuff. I changed the sign. It didn't change. But it doesn't matter. If you got an inequality you're solving, and you divide that inequality by a negative, that inequality sign will flip. That's the rule. Doesn't matter where that came from or what's going on. You got this in your life right now. When you divide by negative, the sign flips. Because that's how inequalities work, period. And then here, subtract 3, less than negative 10. Divided by negative 2, I get x greater than 5. I like it. So it's got to be less than negative 2 or bigger than 5. Yes?
So you put negative infinity and negative 2
Okay.
and 5.
So this goes all the way down to negative infinity up to negative 2. Or the smallest thing this could be is 5. That's where it starts. It's always smallest to biggest. Smallest, comma, biggest. Because you wouldn't say, well, what age kids do you take here? Anywhere from 18 to 5. It's like, what's wrong with you, man? 5 to 18? Shit. Look at these kids aging in reverse. I'm still 19. Another year I'll be 18.
Bedroom buttons.
That'd be neat. Those of us who are older, stop dreaming. It's not gonna happen. And then finally, that last one, you know it's got to be something freaky. What did it say? Less equal to 5. Okay. So of course, the first step here is subtract 6. So you get an absolute value is less than or equal to a negative number. Yeah, no solution, right? Absolute value can't be negative. So it can't be less than some negative number. The only option then would for it to be negative, and it can't be negative. So this is no solution. Okay. So any questions on that handout? I'll try to stop doing this. It's just a habit. Yes?
So, if you like kept going and it did like the -1 is...
All right. So I was thinking about writing this. It's less than. So you would try to do this, right? You would try to say 5x plus 1. It would be less or equal to -1, and then you change the sign. Now right there, that's bogus bullshit. How can 1 be smaller than something that is smaller than -1? Think about it. How can 1 be smaller than something that is smaller than -1? Can't be. So right there it's telling you, hey, this is bogus. 1 can't be less than something that is itself less than -1, can it? If that's less than -1, how could 1 be less than it? Come on, you got it, come on. So whenever you write this type of thing, you can't have these numbers on the outside. These have to follow the symbols. That makes sense. 2 is less than 5. But if you have like -7 less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 4, -7 is, oh shit. Wait, other way around. You got it. 7 is not less than -4, so therefore that would be, I couldn't even write it wrong. Shit. 7 is not less than -4, so that can't be correct. You did something wrong, or it's trying to tell you there's no way to solve this. There is no solution for that.
What if the signs were switched?
Then it would be fine.
Then it would
yeah.
then it would
So if
be
I had
correct.
a greater or equal to x, greater or equal to -1, if you follow it, is it true? Is 8 bigger than -1?
Yes.
Yes. So that's valid.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
What if 6 was to be in front of 5x plus 1?
Oh, but it's still 6 plus that?
It's 6 and then
Times that?
it'll be 6 and then the line 5x plus 1.
Oh, so times that.
Yeah.
So instead of adding, you're multiplying? So why would this be okay? Because what would be the first step?
Divide.
Divide by
6.
6. So 5x plus 1 less or equal to 5, 6. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now don't say to me, no, because it's gross. No, that's not what I'm asking. Is that valid? Yes. Is it pretty? No, that's a separate question. That's for you to worry about. This tells me I can keep going. Because it's not less than some negative. It's not. So it's okay. I can keep doing this. Maybe. Today's the day they ask questions, because tomorrow I'm going to test you on this shit. All right, so let me open it up. Anybody still need a copy of the practice test? Did we not get that yet?
And we don't have to turn in the practice test?
No, please don't. I'm going to give you the. I got enough paper. We can give you the answer. You don't have to do this practice test at all. You can say, thanks, Jeff, make a paper airplane out of it, whatever the shit. Make a little bonfire. Die. But if you do it, I think I told you this before, don't overdo this. If you made a mistake on something, go find a problem like it. Because if you do that problem over and over again, you're going to understand that problem, not the one I'm going to give you. I ain't going to give you that problem. Because I'm already showing you how to do exactly that one. I'm not going to give you that problem. Shit. Unfortunately, some of my colleagues do exactly that. They need to stop teaching. Yes?
How many questions on the test?
Normally, like, around like 27 or so, right? And when I say that, I count all the ABC. So I hate it when the teacher's like, there's 10 problems, okay? And then you get it's like 1A through J, 2A through M. I'm like, that's not 10 problems, holy shit. So when I say 27, I'm counting all the ABCs. You with me? So up in there, maybe 30, depending on how hard the ones are. You with me?
And we won't
Somewhere
need a
in there.
Scantron for it? Or, okay.
Sorry. If a math teacher gives you a multiple choice test, they are not a math teacher. I'm not sure what they are. My point for saying that is, because I know you probably had math courses where that was true. Number one, that means you're lazy as shit. Number two, the important thing is your work, not the answer, believe it or not. Answer is nice. If you don't get the right answer, you might lose a point or two, depending on how big the mistake was you made. You with me? Sometimes you won't lose any points if you get the wrong answer. If you just made a little brain fart, but you understood the concept. That's what I'm grading, is the concept. And I can't see that if it's Scantron shit, right? Sorry. I feel a little strongly about that.
I agree.
Yeah. So I don't mean to, like, yell at somebody when they ask me. It's just the idea of it makes me like, ugh.
So each question's worth about 4 points, roughly.
Somewhere around there, yeah. I like it. Depending on, some things you may have your way,
I
whatever.
know, by the work you have to show.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, shit. I own a shirt that says that shit, so you know it's important. Because that's my whole purpose, is to look at how you do a problem and help you look at it correctly if you're not. Can't do that if you can't see your work. Okay, before I give out this answer key, are there any problems on this practice test you guys want to focus on, or types of problems? I only have one word problem on this test. There might be one or two on the actual test, and they could include like the distance, rate, time stuff, right? What's going on with those? I don't know.
Let's go over.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Can I just say though, in the past hour, you explained this to me way better than any middle school or high school teacher ever did to me.
Oh, thank God.
Like,
There's at least one person that I could live off of that. Sometimes I have no idea what's going on in your minds because you give me this. So I appreciate that. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but all a teacher needs is one to feel a little better. Okay, so let's do a distance, rate, time problem. Let's just take one out of the book here. Where was that at? 7? Yeah, thank you. I love this problem. That's funny. All right, here we go. Have you ever heard an old song, Caledonia? Caledonia. No, it's an old jazz song, blues song. 29 in section 7.7. Let's do that one. That one says, I didn't put a distance, rate, time problem on there.
Oh.
The request is to do a distance, rate, time problem.
Oh.
Manly's tractor is just as fast as Caledonia's. It takes Manly 1 hour more than it takes Caledonia to drive to town. You need a T for it there, Jeff. There you go. Get to town. If Manly is 20 miles from town and Caledonia is 15 miles from town, how long does it take each of them? Manly is 20 miles from town. Caledonia, 15 miles from town. How long does it take each of them? I think this is a question, right? How long does it take? Yeah, we'll say each of them to get to town. Oh, shit. If you have the book, you can actually see words you can read. So what's the formula behind what's going on here?
Distance equals rate over time.
No. Dirt. Distance equals rate times time. So I have obviously two things going on. Distance equals rate times time. I've got Manly and I've got Caledonia. Right? Whatever happened to Bob and Meg? I don't know. You got Manly and Caledonia. What can I fill in there? What do I know just for sure? There's no question. There's no variables. I just know it. Distance, right? Manly is 20 miles from town. Caledonia is 15 miles from town. Now, where's the variable come into play? What's the thing that... no. Time. It takes Manly 1 hour more than Caledonia. So which one's just going to be X? Manly or Caledonia? It takes Manly 1 hour more than Caledonia.
So 1 plus X.
Who would that be, though?
X is Caledonia.
Yeah. X is Caledonia, because how to get Manly, you got to do something to Caledonia's time to get Manly, right? So if Caledonia is X, and Manly's 1 hour more than that, now Jeff, you probably want to put it in the time slot. All right, that's fine. I'm so focused on the freaking X plus 1 thing, I forgot which column I'm in. Now, how do I get rate? So remember, you fill in, so they're going to have to tell you something just directly, just numbers. And then there's going to be something that involves variables, and then you're going to have one slot left for both. Now in this case, how do I get that? What's rate? If distance is rate times time, how do you get rate by itself? Divide by? Divide by time. So rate is distance divided by time. So what's Manly's rate? Distance divided by time. Distance divided by time. 20 over x plus 1. What's Caledonia's rate? And how do those speeds relate to each other? How do those rates relate? What do they tell me the very first thing?
Just as fast.
Just as fast.
So they're equal.
So this speed has to equal that speed. So that's where the equation comes from. You set those things equal to each other. So you fill in a couple of blocks for each, and then you have a blank one. Well, then you use the formula to figure out what to put in the blank spot. And normally that's where the equation is going to come from. Those two are equal. Those things add to be 20, whatever. That's where the equation comes from. In this case, they are equal to each other. So that's awesome, because how do I solve that kind of problem? Cross multiply. Yeah. So 20x equals
15x.
good, 15x plus 15. Subtract 15. 5x equals 15. Divide by 5. You get x is 3. What's that mean? What's 3? What's that?
Time.
Time for who?
For Caledonia.
Yes. 3x is the time for Caledonia. So Caledonia takes 3 hours. How about Manly? He takes 4 hours.
you the type of teacher who requires your students to write out like a full sentence for word problems?
No. You got to give me units though.
Oh yeah.
If you don't put units, you lose a point, and I get to be a complete dork and put down here bananas,
Because like literally
shoelaces.
I had to be like, Cardonia's speed was.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, I had a teacher that would grade us on grammar and all that shit, and I'm like, this is my class to get away from. So, not that English is not important, but I'm sure some of you guys are like, English is my class to get away from math. If my English professor was like, now calculate the percentage of the words, and you're like, stop it. But they really should, and I should be more open to English. All right. It's wide open, by the way. If you got questions, don't hesitate to ask. Don't feel like it's too dumb to ask, because that's not true, is ever. 6F? Yeah, I left it open, though. So you could do synthetic, which I would choose. Or you could do long division, because I left it open. Yeah. So, I don't know if I brought... before I say this, let me make sure I have some. Did I bring any extra ones? I think I ran out of them. Shoot. I did have a synthetic division handout. So if you didn't get one, you'd have to come with me to my office. And that just sounds too horrible to even imagine, just coming back with me. So if you didn't get a handout on synthetic division, it shows you a couple examples. You probably should get that. So let's go over synthetic. Let me write 2 problems down, and then you tell me which one I could use synthetic on. Ooh, that one's going to get gross. I like it. Yeah. So you can use that one. Why can't you do this one? Because it's squared in the bottom. You can still do this problem. If I give you this problem, you have to use long division. Synthetic needs this to have a 1 power and to have a 1 coefficient. That's why it's so nice. It's one reason why it's so nice is that it has so many restrictions on what it works for. So then it comes out super nice. So how do I do this problem? What do I put over here?
3.
No? Yeah, -3. That's related to the idea of changing the sign every time? No, let's just change the sign at the beginning. Screw every time. Let's just do it right now. 1, bam! I made a -3. Don't have to change the sign anymore. And then here I put what? 9? 1? -7? -1? Because I wasn't missing anybody. I don't have to put a 0 down. I've got all the stuff between x cubed and no x's. I'm not missing anybody. Now how's the process work? Bring down the 9. Bring down the 9. -3 times 9. -27. You add, multiply. Oh, I love it. Really nice. What's 20 times 3? 60. What's 6 times 3?
40.
What's 6 times 3? 18. 60 and 18 is 78. And the negatives cancel, right? So you get 78. Add. You didn't like that one, you're going to really like this one. 71 times -3. 70 times 3 is 210, right? 21 and a 0. Plus 1, 3, 213. Negative. Add. So now the real key here is, how do you interpret what you just did? This is 9 what?
X squared.
Yeah, because I had x cubes, I divided by x basically, so it should come out to be x squared. It only makes sense. This would be 9x squares minus 26 x's plus 71 minus 214 over,
X plus.
yeah, x plus 3. That's what I divided by. That's the remainder term. That last dude is the remainder term. So how would I know if one went evenly into the other? If this was if it goes in evenly, what remainder do you have?
0.
0. So the 0, that means I actually figured out a way to factor this sucker. Yes?
So when you multiplied 26 and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just said 2 times 3 is 6.
20 times 3 is 60.
60.
And 6 times 3 is 18. 60 and 18 is 78.
Now how did you get negative 213?
70 times 3 is 210. Just add a 0 into 21. And then you got 1 3 on top of that, 213. And the negative didn't cancel.
I haven't known why you showed us that.
Well, that's actually the way you do it, to be honest. But
They showed us the other way. Where it's
yeah, I know. So like if 26 times 3, you normally start here.
Yeah.
But you could actually do 3 times 20 is 60. 3 times 6 is 18. I should show you. Anybody ever heard of Abbott and Costello?
Yes.
Anybody never heard of Abbott and Costello? Guys, your life is incomplete. All right. Anyway, I might show you the video where they prove that. What was it? 13 times 7 is 28. They prove it 3 different ways. And that'll really screw you up, so I'm not going to show it to you.
Wait, can we do that
This one? Okay. So that's synthetic. You could do that long division, right? If you wanted to. If I didn't say use synthetic. Now here you have to use long division. This one's going to be yummy. So yummy. So x squared times what? Is 4x cubed, right? 4x, I like it. 4x times x squared is 4x cubed, that's amazing. 4x times 2 is 8x, right? And then I change the signs. Negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14. Oh, Jeff, you're so funny. Here's the whole point of this. You've got to line up your like terms. So 4x times 2 is 8x. Line it up. I like it. And if you don't, you should catch yourself very quickly like I just did. I'm like, well, those aren't like terms. Oh, shit. Line them up as you do it so you don't make the mistake. You put together things that aren't like. So negative 6x squared minus 3x minus 7. What times x squared is negative 6x squared?
6.
Negative 6.
Yeah.
Negative 6x squared. Negative 6 times 2 is minus 12. Change the signs. Is that?
Okay.
And then you get negative 3x plus 5. That, how do I know that that's where I stop? Because x squared can't go into, whenever this is smaller power than this, you're done.
How do you get positive 20?
Oh, well, negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, but then you change the signs.
Okay.
Yeah, or subtract that whole thing.
Yeah.
So that changes the signs. So this, the remainder term would be, now here's where, anyway, let me just do this. Negative 3x plus 5 over square plus 2. Okay. So, I mean, if you look at it, long division, how does it work? The same. Numbers, variables, the process doesn't change. Why was this, by the way, why was this one weird where I had to move over one? Because do you see how that's missing something?
Yeah.
So when I multiply, I'm going to have things separated by more than just 1 degree. That's why I had to like move over here for it. So you like terms. Do you have to know that? No. You just line your like terms up. But that's why that happened. Yeah.
Why is it plus the remainder instead of subtract the remainder?
Oh, okay, okay. If you did, see, that's why I was just having a little conversation with myself. It is always plus remainder over what you divided by. If you wanted to put a minus here, it would have to look like this. 4x minus 6 minus, so I took a negative out. 3x minus 5 over x squared plus 2. And people really dislike that. That's just too bad. If you put a minus here, that means you took a negative out. That's why I just tell people, just always put a plus, put stuff on top. If you put a minus 3x plus 5, then you change the sign of a part of it and not the whole thing. How the hell can you do that? So anytime you have a remainder, just put plus that piece over what you divided by. Just to be safe. Unless you're feeling lucky. Feeling lucky. Yeah.
And so when on the test it says to simplify and there's no different exponents and stuff, that's when you just do PEMDAS
Oh.
instead of factoring?
Asking me when do I do PEMDAS is weird to me because you always do.
Mm-hmm.
PEMDAS is the grammar. This is always how things are done. If you think about it, how do you... Watch this, watch this. Let me see if I can make this... Remember that problem we did earlier that I wrote like this? It was the absolute value problem, right? PEMDAS would say multiply 2 times x first, right, and so forth. When I solve an equation, I do all of that backwards. That's why we do this first. We get rid of the 3. Because how do I solve an equation? I reverse everything. I undo what was being done. I don't know, that's a little side note. But what kind of problem is like just an in-your-face order operations problem is when I have just a bunch of numbers running around, multiplying each other, you know. Yeah, that's a yummy one. Bless you. That is just in your face, nothing but PEMDAS, right? And the thing that people seem to do is, and I don't blame you for this, a lot of you guys got the note division not last on your quiz. So if you got that, you were definitely not alone. More than half of you, I think, I said that on. The reason we consider division to be last is because in this problem, what would be last? Division. But what did we say is true? What's understood to be around the top and bottom? Parenthesis. And that's why division is last, because it's left out of the parentheses, and the division in the middle going, okay, I'll wait. Over here, are the parentheses around all this shit? No. So if you rewrite this as this over this, on a few of your problems I said, different problem, question mark, exclamation point. You made a completely different problem. What's the only thing being divided in this whole thing? That's it. That's the only thing. In fact, it's this divided by 21. That's it. So don't make this 42. That's not fair. It's not being divided by 42. It's being divided by 21 and then multiplied by 2, right? So how would you do this one correctly? What's the first thing you would do? Yeah. -3. Cubed is -27. Yeah, I made a yummy one. So then this is 4 plus 7 times 20 is 140. 7 times 7 is 49. 189. Anyway, I didn't really make this problem. I'm not showing you that I'm going to give you a problem like this to do without a calculator. Right? This will work because, let me see if some of you guys see this. Isn't there a 3 in this?
Yeah.
7 times 3 is 21. So if I kill the 21s, what's left? The other two 3s. So what's 189 divided by 21? 9. The two 3s that would be left once I kill the parts that are 21. 7 times 3 times 3 times 3.
It's cute.
Divided by 7 times 3.
Oh.
Right? 7 times 3 times 3 times 3. That's 7 times 27. Divided by 21, which is 7 times 3. 9. 189 divided by 21 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 4 plus 20 is 27. Sorry that the numbers were gross on that one, but I was focused on the idea of PEMDAS and just showing you. Yes? Oh, you're good. So just reminding you guys, remember I said there's going to be, did I say this right? I'm pretty sure. A part 1, did I show you this? A part 1 of the test where you cannot use a calculator, and a part 2 where you can.
Can we do number 9 on the practice test?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so remember the first step in a word problem involves no math. It's just getting all the English names that are used so I can translate them to math names, right? So in number 9, the triangle problem, right?
Yes.
What are the 3 English names of the players involved? And so I know it sounds weird, like Robert? No. What's involved? 3 whats? 3 sides. What are the names? There's one side. Largest side. And? No.
Other side.
Other side. And technically, there's nothing wrong with calling one the smallest, but then when you look back at the problem, you're like, where the hell did I get that from? Use the exact same names they do in the problem. Now, which one of those is going to be just X? Because now I'm going to start giving them math names. Why would the largest one be X? I'm not saying you're wrong.
That's what they refer to.
Yeah. The one side is blah, 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 then the largest. The other side is blah, 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 then the large. Oh, crap, I got to know the largest first to get everybody started. So you call the largest one X, and then the one side is 5 feet shorter than that. Yeah. That minus 5. And then the other side is 30 feet shorter than twice that. Now the mistake I see a lot is this. No. 30 feet shorter than twice that. You do this, that's where you get negative side lengths. And that's where I'm like, build that for me. I want to see that shit. Negative 5 feet long. That involves neutron star material. Holy shit. Get that from the intergalactic balloons. Yeah. Like, all right, sorry. So now what are these supposed to do?
Equal 45.
Add them all up to make 45? Yeah. Is that? So identify the English words used for the players in the problem. One of them is going to have just X as its math name because the other two build off of that. And then what do they all do together? In this case, it's perimeter, so they all add to be 45. And that's your equation. Now the rest would be the easy stuff. Right?
So you do 2x minus 30 plus x minus 5?
Well, if you write this, what's wrong with this? How many sides do you see up there? 1, 2. I'm missing
Equals x?
back. No, I'm missing that guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now I got 3 sides equal to the whole perimeter. So then I get 2, 3, 4x. Minus 35, add 35, I get 80. Blah, 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 blah. Let me go ahead and give you guys the answer key. Here's another piece of advice. Don't get the answer key and do this. Yep. I would have done that. Right? I mean, that's... You're building false confidence. You're like, it's easy to agree with what somebody else has already done, right? And I'll sometimes make mistakes. I'm averaging about a 97 on practice test answer keys. So if you think something's wrong, there's a chance. So ask me if you think it's wrong. You're all like, what the shit? But oh well, I'm human. Give me a break.
Yeah, okay. Every time somebody, whenever it's like this time, I'm like, here's it fucked up and I clean it, and spray water and sushi in it, it comes out. If you didn't do it, none will start to know what's there. I'm like,
Yeah, there's the answer key for the practice test.
yeah, this is wrong.
Answer key. Which one? This one I read it wrong. Oh.
Also, I can't think of one that I like I found.
See, on my number 9, I call the largest one L. It don't matter what you call it. You just need some kind of a symbol for it.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So for D, you wouldn't like, you wouldn't change the minus a plus and then,
You could. So what I did on 6B, I did a couple of weird things.
yes,
If the top is factorable on any fraction,
yes.
so for example, watch this problem here. If I had, what do you got, Jeff? I don't know, man. If I had 14 over 42 minus